What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Triple Threats Podcast. We are back. It's been a long time. We started off in the pandemic. We're here now, back and better than ever. I graduated high school. It's been a wild ride, but we're back, and I'm so happy to welcome our first guest back, Sean McManus. Everybody, please give him a very warm welcome. Sean, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, awesome. Of course. First of all, congratulations on everything that's happened over these past couple months. I feel like for us, it's been looking like it's going so fast. I don't know about for you. It probably feels like it's either going fast or slow. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling everything. It's that's a great question. I mean, it feels like no time has gone by, but at the same time, it feels like this whole process has been a year long, and it's literally only been like a month since I started. So it's been wild, but I'm sure anybody who's like gone through a similar process as me could tell you that it feels in slow motion when it's actually happening, but then you look back and you're like, "Oh, that was a long time."
Right. Now, we're going to get to everything that you've been doing, but first, tell us a little bit about where you're from, how you got started with theater.
Sure. I'm from Summit, New Jersey. So I'm like 10 minutes outside of Paper Mill Playhouse in Milburn. And excuse me. Yeah, that's like the place that nurtured my love for the performing arts. Like I saw my first shows there. I did my first professional job there when I was 14. And they also have great like educational opportunities for high school students. So like I took creative drama classes there. I took some dance classes there. I even did like a community outreach program where like it's a bunch of elementary school kids and we like put a show together and then we go out and we perform for children's hospitals and cancer societies. So all of my like growing up was performing at Paper Mill.
Oh, wow. That's so awesome. I'm from New Jersey as well. I'm in Metuchen, New Jersey, and I
Oh, no
still
way.
yeah, I still haven't been to Paper Mill, but I really want to, go see a show there. They always do so many amazing shows.
They
Um,
do. Yeah.
yeah. So did you go to college? Where did you end up
I
going?
did. I went to Boston Conservatory.
Nice. For musical theater, acting.
For musical theater. They split it up kind of uniquely. They have musical theater and contemporary theater, which is that program's a little bit smaller. It's very similar to like a BFA acting program, but it's also more rooted in like what kind of plays are being written in the modern age, and it's focusing on like what they want theater to look like in the future. So they do like really cool work there too. But yeah, I was a musical theater major.
Very nice. Awesome. What is what was your first show that you ever did, professionally?
Professionally, my first show was The Sound of Music at Paper Mill. I was 14. I played like one of the Von Trapp kids, and that was super fun. But then besides that, I think I did a lot of like summer stocks when I was in college. Like I did the Lexington Theater Company. And then the year after I graduated, I did the Cats National Tour. And that was like my first big job out of school.
Right. Now you were in West Side Story with Lexington, correct?
Yes, yes.
What was
And
that
I
ex-
played Baby John.
what was that experience like? All the dancing and
I mean, well, since this is called Triple Threat Podcast, I mean, that show is like the pinnacle of the integrated musical with singing, acting, and dancing all being like core elements of the production. And it was just so surreal. Like we got to do the original Robbins choreography, which was incredible. And Baby John is like the my most favorite role I've ever played. So it was amazing. Like so, and it was actually authentically performed, like with the correct identities in the roles that should be adherent to those identities, which we love to see.
that's awesome.
And yeah, it was so surreal. I loved it.
Amazing. So you mentioned the Cats National Tour. How was the audition process for that like?
The audition process was very intense. They For the final callbacks they do, it's called the Cats Boot Camp, and it's basically where the resident choreographer Kim Craven, who is basically in charge of like all of Cats around the world, and specifically like the Andy Blankenbuehler production, which takes the original Gillian Lynn choreography and meshes it with some of his own choreography. And yeah, you are there like morning till night doing all these different combos, and then like they would throw all these random sides at you. And I didn't know, like it didn't make much sense in the moment, but then when I actually got the job, it made sense of how they were building everybody up, because a lot of the featured ensemble also cover supporting characters, and you have to make sure that everyone has those skills in their wheelhouse. It was a really intense process, but by the end of it, you felt like, oh yeah, I could do this show, no problem.
Right. Well, it's a very hard show to do. So much dancing. You know, you're in a full cat costume,
Oh my god. Yeah.
to say the least. How long was the makeup process for that?
In the beginning, the makeup took about an hour and 20 minutes. Now I'm done with the show now because I'm in Beetlejuice, but by the end of my run, it took me like 25, maybe 30 minutes, because you learn to just slap it on and the routine is just like, okay, here we go.
So you do your own makeup.
Yes, everybody does their own makeup. But I
Wow.
kind of love that because it really helped you dive into the character. Not that that's necessary, but it does, like
Sure.
it also kind of was comforting. Like I always considered it like a spa experience, because there's something kind of cathartic and like relaxing about like painting your face and like making sure it's the same every day. Like granted, it's not the best for the skin.
Right.
And it does become tedious after a while, but I loved the makeup process.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Now, did they give you like a tutorial on how to do the makeup? Like, did somebody come in and like teach you guys like all that stuff?
Absolutely. We had the resident makeup designer,
Mhm.
Victoria, from the Broadway production came over and taught us like every cat individually. Because that's the other thing. Like I played Tumble Brutus, and then I
Mhm.
understudied Mungo Jerry and Skimbleshanks. And those makeup spots are like so different, right? So
Right.
like it was very intimidating in the beginning, but then after a while we like got it down, and she really helped us. Like she was there all throughout tech to be like,
That's
oh,
awesome.
maybe we should clean that up.
Right. How on average? Oh, you said about 25 minutes the makeup took.
Hmm.
Nice. So I think everybody that is watching this podcast right now has seen that video of you getting the call that you were going to be moving on to your next production.
uh,
Um, what was that feeling like, getting that call and being like, oh, I'm about to move on, and like this is going to end and I'm going to go on to a new chapter.
it was so unbelievable. I think the reason I got so emotional is it was so unexpected, because I had actually gone in for Beetlejuice for the tour right before that, and I didn't even know the Broadway production was accessible at that point. So when my agent called and told me the news, I was like, "Oh, does he know something about the tour already?" And then he was like, "They want you for the Broadway Vacation Swing." I was like, "Oh my god, what?" And it was just so unexpected. And I mean, it's been a dream of mine for so long, so I just like couldn't hold it in. I just got like so emotional.
Well, it was also on your birthday too, right? If I'm not
It was.
mistaken.
Yes, it was insane, and, like, what an embarrassment of riches. Like, I had 2 shows of Cats that day, and then in between, my agent called and, like, gave me a Broadway offer. Like, what more could you possibly ask for? It was insane.
Best birthday gift
Ever,
ever. I'm
ever.
sure you guys celebrated all night.
We did,
Um,
for sure.
awesome. So people also know you from TikTok. You started making these videos where you go on and do impressions of celebrities: Jennifer Coolidge, Bernadette Peters, Moira from Schitt's Creek, but most famously that I know is your Patty LaPone impression, which is just amazing. So what led you to just start doing these?
First of all, thank you. So that's super
Of
nice.
course.
And I always feel the need to, like, apologize, and people are like, "Oh, I saw your TikToks." I'm like, "Oh god." Bless your
No, they're
heart.
amazing. For anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about, I am going to play a quick clip, if that's okay, for a second,
Sure.
of one of your TikToks. So here is the TikTok.
Okay.
I won't just send a sign. I'm running out of hope and doom. Let out my star lightning strike. One drop of nuclear bomb. No more I'll go outside if that's the change. Whatever it takes to make him say your name.
There it is.
There
It's
she is.
it's amazing. And even though you're still doing an impression, you can still hear the vocal ability that you have, which I think is amazing. And it shows that you're a true triple threat because the fact that you were able to dance at Cats, can sing like yourself and like Patti LuPone. Come on. Like, that's pretty impressive. So you mentioned before that you were brought onto Beetlejuice Broadway as a vacation swing. Now, can you explain a little bit for those who don't know what a vacation swing is? Because I don't think we really hear a lot about vacation swings. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I feel like it's not talked about a lot. To be honest, like I didn't know what it was for a long time, but then I actually knew the vacation swing on Beetlejuice from their first run at the Winter Garden. So that's
Wow.
how I even came to realize what a vacation swing was. Basically, we're like any other swing, which I'm sure everybody knows is somebody who's like not in the show every night. They're backstage waiting to go
Right.
on for an ensemble member. Um, but basically, a vacation swing is not necessarily at the theater every day. I'm most of the time brought on in like 1 to 2 week chunks for when somebody in the cast takes a vacation. And basically, they tell me, okay, like this person is going to be on vacation for these 2 weeks. You're going to be in the building, making sure that we have additional coverage so that we're not like a man down for that week, if that makes sense.
Right. Well, that's amazing. So I know you were on last night. How
Yeah.
how was that? How'd
Oh
that
my,
go?
it was amazing. It was so fun. This one, like this particular track, I loved because I really got to dance, and I've been itching to like really get my dancing shoes back on since I left Cats. So it was a blast. I loved it.
So now, was last night Cats also like the end of Cats tour, or was that Saturday?
It was, yeah. The tour closed last night on Sunday, the same night that I went on in Elliot's track.
So it's kind of like a full circle moment, if you would. Your tour closed, and then the same day you're you weren't in the tour closing, but the same day you go on at Beetlejuice on Broadway.
It was insane. Like the cosmic timing of it all was crazy, and I love all of my Cats family. I am actually selfishly glad they're all coming back to New York so that I can spend more time with them.
Maybe they'll
Yeah.
see you in the show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was like, I mean, I know you guys are sad, but like, if you want to come see Beetlejuice, and they were like, yeah, for sure. And they all sent me like this gorgeous video message before my first night in the show, being
That's
like, "Oh, happy Broadway debut! We love you, and we're so excited for you." They're the best. I love them.
That's so sweet. So now let's talk about the time that Alex Brightman pulls you into center stage and gives you, your Broadway debut bow. What did that feel like to be in the moment? The Marquise Theater is massive. You're looking out onto all these faces. And what does that feel like to have such an icon like Alex Brightman? First of all, to share the stage with every single night, and then also to pull you aside when you make your, Broadway debut. What did that feel like?
It was an out of body experience.
Mm.
I was, again, like just so in shock because he continues to mesmerize me, not because he's so amazing at what he does. Like his talent is just sick, and like he's so incredible at what he does, but beyond that, like he's such a cool human.
He really is.
So caring and generous and thoughtful, and also like cool and interesting, and not exactly like what you see on stage. Like he's just amazing, and a class act, truly like a class act. And I've never seen somebody lead a company as well as he does. And so for him to do that for me was just incredible. And even from the moment I walked in the building my first day, he was so welcoming. Like he said, "I love your TikToks. I'm a huge fan. Like we're so happy to have you." And hearing that from him, somebody who I've idolized for so long, like I've seen him in like so many shows he's done, and he never doesn't kill it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like he's just one of those people. Like you go to see him in a show, he will never not give you 110%. And that's the definition of a leader. Like that's somebody who leads a company day in and day out. So for him to like be so gracious as to give me that opportunity, it was just surreal. He told me, you know, a couple hours before it happened, he was like, I love Broadway debuts. It brings me back to my Broadway debut when I was 19.
Wow.
And he was like, and I remember how overwhelming it was that I just want to make it the same for everybody else. Like, who says that? He's just amazing.
And then, you know, we see him pull you and it's just like, oh, so sweet. How so how was the how were your nerves? Did you just want to go out there and do it and, you know, strap on those boots and just, hey, this is my Broadway debut? Did you have people in the audience that night?
I did. Yeah, my whole family was there, and some of my
Oh, that's
college friends
awesome.
were there too.
So now, do you know the next time that you're going on so our viewers can, you know, snag a ticket, or they don't tell you?
I don't know. I know like the time like chunks that I'm gonna be at the theater. The thing about a vacation swing is I don't necessarily know if I'm going on unless somebody takes a personal day or unless somebody just calls out of the show. So it is kind of more of like a game time announcement. But I'm very open about it on social media. So as soon as I know, I'll send it out for everybody. But in terms of like the nerves question you were asking, yes, of course I was nervous. Of course I was. Like I was super anxious about it and like really just wanted to do well. But at the same time, I really felt prepared and I felt so supported. I had like all the people I wanted in the audience. Everybody in the cast couldn't have been more uplifting and encouraging. And I just felt safe. I didn't feel like not nervous, but I didn't feel unsafe. You know what I mean? So I just
Right.
was like, okay, like here we go. It's something that I've always dreamed of, but we're just gonna go in and see. And I've never been on this stage with everybody before, but there wasn't fear. There were like anxious nerves because I wanted to prove myself and I wanted to do well, but there wasn't necessarily any fear. Like I love a challenge. I love that swing mentality of like just throw me in.
And it's even at Beetlejuice, it's even more of a challenge because for those who don't know the history of Beetlejuice, it was previously opened at the Winter Garden Theater. You know, it closed and the Music Man was going to come into the Winter Garden Theater, and then it was just kind of up in the air. What's going to happen with Beetlejuice? Like, we're closed now. There were rumors of it going to the Ethel Barrymore Theater and it going to the Broadway Theater because Beetlejuice is a huge show. It's
Right.
like you need a really big theater. So there was rumors of it going here, there, and everywhere. And then it finally came out that it was going to be opening at the Marriott Marquis Theater, which is where Tootsie was previously performed. And then we got the casting, and pretty much the whole cast, with the exception of some new cast members, went over to the Marriott Marquis. So how was it trying to fit yourself in with this already tight knit community of performers? With the exception of, you know, the new performers like Miss Argentina, she is new to the cast, but they already had some time to acclimate themselves in that environment. You coming in a little bit late from when they opened at the Marriott, how did it feel connecting with everybody?
I was definitely nervous because I'm also on the younger side of the age group there. One of the novices, as they say. But you know what? They couldn't have been more welcoming. And that just is a testament to who they are as people. What I'll say is like they all were just so happy to be there and be back together because with the pandemic they reopened this April. So they were one of the last shows to actually come back because you're right, as the rumors said, there was a lot of speculation. They didn't know exactly where they wanted to go, but they knew they wanted to remount the production. So a lot of it was actually new to even the people who'd been with it for years, right? Because it was a new theater, there were new dressers, there were adjustments made to the set to fit into the Marriott Marquis. There were a couple new cast members. I think it was like 9 or 10 new cast members. So they had only been like 50 performances in. So I think it actually wasn't that much of like a time difference between them opening and me coming in. And to be honest, like with COVID as an imminent threat, they were happy to have another man on board, because the last thing they wanted to have happen was to shut down even for a day or two. Right. So
Right.
I think we're just super grateful. It's like, yes, bring people in, bring the reinforcements in so that we keep going, because those actors had been out of work for almost 2 years. And so I think they were just very grateful I was there. Of course, I was so grateful to be there, and we fed off of that energy. It's just like, okay, great. Like, you're here to help out, contribute whatever you can, and we're going to guide you through and hold your hand. And that's exactly what happened.
That's amazing. And the whole, COVID thing put such a burden on Broadway, coming back. And so it just snaps to you, because it's people like you, our swings and vacation swings and understudies and amazing, amazing people that do keep the show running. If somebody does, happens to call out, or they get to the theater test, and then boom, they
Yeah.
they've got to go, but then the show can go on, because people like you swoop on in. So with that being said, on average, if you're not in the theater that day but they still need you, how do you get to the theater so fast, being that you don't, that you're not there?
Well, I do live in New Jersey still. I hadn't moved into New York yet, because I was gonna move after I had graduated college, but then I booked Cats right away. So I decided not to move, and I was like, oh, I'll save up money. And then when this happened, the turnaround was so fast that I just came back to my family's house in Jersey. I'm a 40-minute train ride away, and like
Okay.
some people commuting from Brooklyn, it takes them that long to get there to Midtown anyway. So they know that proximity wise, I'm like sort of around.
For sure.
And that being said, they also, even if I'm not going to go on, they actually do have certain weeks to keep me in the building just
Yeah.
in case. So I do appreciate that as well, because, even if I'm not going on, they're like, oh, well, why are you here? It's like, you never know. Like, it's just good to have manpower in the building. And then it's nice for me, because I get to like be backstage. I get to trail or shadow the other actors to make sure that I'm on the top of my game. And they do that to ensure that, like it's a smooth transition if and when somebody has to call out.
Right. Now, when you're in the building, I know in the Winter Garden they had the vocal booths where the ensemble would go and sing.
Uh-huh.
Do you still do that even though you're not in the show that night?
We don't do that anymore, with COVID
Okay.
being more of like an immediate threat, right? Because if everybody's singing close together and like without using masks, it became a safety hazard. So we do sometimes do offstage singing, but like in separate booths, but that doesn't really happen too much. So otherwise, like if I'm not on, I am upstairs in the dressing room going through the show by myself, sort of, and I have like a great system where I have like things color coded, and I'll switch back and forth between the guys that I cover. And then sometimes like the other swings and standbys will come and rehearse with me, which is great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really sweet when they do that. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much what my typical day is like. Sometimes I'll film TikToks with cast. Sometimes I'll just go around and like give people candy and encouragement. I like to be like talking with everybody as much as I can.
So we keep bringing up the whole TikTok thing. If you guys don't follow him, it's at Shawnee Mac on TikTok, right? I'm gonna all of your socials, all of Sean's socials will be in the description below. Follow, like. Go interact and enjoy the content. It's really, really good. Before we go, is it okay if we play a quick game? It's called Guess the Musical. It's where you have 30 seconds to guess. It's fairly easy if you're a major Broadway fan like I am, but like guess like small slivers of playbill screens.
Oh yeah,
Like that.
sure. Let's do it.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, here is Guess the Musical. Alrighty, so 30 seconds is going to be put on the clock up here where the little TTP sign is, and the playbill covers will just come right up. All right, so here's 30 seconds. Go.
Wicked. Mean Girls.
Okay.
Waitress.
All right.
Beetlejuice.
There it is.
Hamilton.
Yep.
Book of Mormon.
Okay.
Dear Evan Hansen,
Correct.
Come From Away, Prom.
Okay.
Oh,
3 more seconds.
9 to 5?
No,
Oh,
Frozen.
shoot.
Yeah.
Frozen. Oh, I could see that now. Yeah.
Frozen. But hey, you got pretty much all of them. You had 4 left.
Oh, okay.
Which that was not bad. You nailed all them on the pretty much all them right on it, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, okay. I'm all right with that. I feel like I could have done better, but I'll keep practicing.
Keep practicing. There you go. Well, Sean, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for chatting with me today and for coming out to Triple Threats podcast. Any advice before we go that you'd give to any, aspiring performers out there that are listening?
Just keep working hard. Don't give up, please. I know everybody says that, but it's true. I would also say try and not compare yourself to other people. I think it's great to get inspiration from others and really learn from them. Like I'm a big visual kinesthetic learner, right? So I learn from watching and then repeating and doing. But in terms of like career trajectory, keep your eyes on your own paper, right? Because like just one person succeeding doesn't mean that you're failing. It means that that one person is succeeding, and then that show is right for them. So keep an eye on your own successes and your own trajectory, because comparing yourself to other people isn't really going to help you in the end.
Right. That was. I'm going to take that piece of advice.
Yeah.
Well,
I
Sean.
mean, I need it too. Don't get me wrong.
Right. Well, thank you so much once again for coming on. Again, all in the description below. Follow him on every single platform because he deserves it. We're going to see him a lot more. So thank you so much again. And guys, make sure you tune in on our next episode. Thanks, guys.